it's kind of like a farewell tour here. I was telling Mark Stiles. It's only 4 or 5 years ago we really launched on El Tigre and got going. In early days, I was on their platform for 6 or 8 months. A lot has happened since then, and I was happy that Mark gave me a call and said, "We're having this little conference. Glad I'd like to come back and kind of give a little update of what's happened in the last 4 or 5 years." We're in Sonora, Mexico. We've been in Mexico for 25 years, the group that I work with. In that period of time, all of our projects have either been a mine 3 times or were sold to a major twice. Selling to a major is not a business plan, it's hope. It happens after you move a project to economics and permit it. Silver Tiger is a project that we really needed to have, and we acquired and got at it. So Reader's Digest version of the last 4 years, because I know some of you would have saw this early days with Red Cloud when we launched. We've raised $91 million. $75 million of that bought in the last 3 years at very good valuations. Some of the top financial institutions in the world have helped us with our syndicates: BMO, Desjardins, Stifel, 8, Echelon. They all cover us. I'll refer to that near the end in case you need a deep dive on some of the things we've come out with. Of that 91 million, 62 million went in the ground over the last 4 or 5 years. We still have 21 left in the bank. And I guess what I'm really here to talk about is what do you get from that work you've done, that half a kilometer of underground development and exploration, the 125,000 meters. Well, on September 12th, we delivered a resource estimate, an MRE of 176 million silver equivalent ounces. We'll talk about that. That's just a line in the sand. This is a big, big district, as you'll see. There'll be much more of that, but at some point you've got to put that on the books and then move to economics. It's been a whirlwind. I think I was in New Orleans just before this, and I think it was Wednesday of last week. We put a PEA out on one component of the project. Robust economics, almost a $300 million USD NAV, 58% IRR. So we'll walk you through all of those. It's going to be a very profitable operation, and really give you a deep dive here in the next 15 or 20 minutes for those that knew it in the beginning and for those that are new to it today. So let's get into it. As you can see, we're in Sonora. We love Sonora. We've built projects in our group in Chihuahua and Durango. This is really mining country. Let's have a look at what we have, how we got it. This was owned by a public company. I'm a securities lawyer, so my job has really been simple for the group. Build the public companies, manage the institutions, the street, and also here, very, very excited to be the president and CEO of this emerging silver producer. There's only a handful of them in the world that make money. We're quickly going to be on that list of less than 5, in our opinion. 30,000 hectares is what you're looking at on the screen. That's 35 kilometers long. Look, we're a small junior. All of our exploration's been, again, around the old El Tigre mine. El Tigre, why did we get it? Why did we have to have it? Why did I go a little bit, I wouldn't say the word hostile, but had to buy a public company to get this and convince the shareholders to come with us. The old El Tigre mine, 1908 to 1930, produced 100 million silver equivalent ounces. Old American mine at an average grade of 2.2 kilos. The cutoff was 1.2 kilo. Just drill under and around that old mine and things are going to go real well. Well, from the numbers I'm going to show with you, they've gone real well, and we're just getting started. We love everything about the project in that we've just finished our 46-kilometer road to the project, 365 days a year. All heavy equipment can go on it. Lots of water. We've already been approved for power from the substation 15 miles away. The Angostura Dam is there, unlimited water for our purposes. We have enough now from what's in the mine and on wells on site. What we really liked about it was no hedo. We've never had a project where we haven't had that, so it makes it easier. This is all ranch land. We knew quickly, or quite a while ago, that box I just drew of the 30,000 hectares, we would build a mine here, and we will. I bought the 7,000 hectares where all the work is, where all the exploration's been, for 1.1 million US. The rancher was willing to sell it, so we put that under our control. We fully control everything inside that yellow box to make it really simple, and I really like the fact that the royalty has not been given away. Many of these we see, it's ruined in acquisition. This wasn't. This royalty is fully available to me. It'll be give me great optionality going forward. So let's talk about, that's your intro. For those that may not have seen it, let's talk about what the real meat on the bones are. Look, I got to tell you here, just remember, we're going to talk about a NAV and economics on the open pit. That's about 10% of what this will be. This is going to be a large underground mine that will go on for decades, full stop. We knew that when we got it. I probably said that 3 or 4 years ago. People said that guy's crazy, but we knew what we had because we've been there so long doing it. The circle you see there, that's the old mine. That's where all the exploration is. We've mapped and sampled 15 kilometers each way. It's all the same. We'll get to that in next decade. They'll be drilling ounces at El Tigre for that long. It's a district. I think I should show you this just so you understand what we're going to talk about and how you get at exploration. There's that old El Tigre mine. Really important that you see this. That's where the old timers went. That's 1.5 kilometers. They went to 450 meters at the end. You can see all the workings on that. And what they did is, excuse me, they basically developed underground and took all that ore. 3 main veins we've been working on here are from top view are the Sui, the Tiger, Sites Kelly. It's really simple. Drill under and around that old mine where the old timers just drop their tools in multi-kilo ore, and it's going to go well. We have delineated a pit I'll talk to you about here. We found a shale horizon, which I'll show you here, which nobody expected, which we've drilled now for 5 or 6 kilometers. And right here, just in the guts underneath where they did not mine, we found a sulfide zone that is quite incredible, and I'll give you an introduction to that very, very quickly. But we've only got 15 minutes, and it's hard almost to tell the whole story. So let's talk about what Tiger looks like. This is El Tigre in a cartoon that gives a lot of information. This is 125,000 meters, a lot of money. Team did amazing work, and what they put on the books, you'll see in a minute, there's the open pit. All the ore here is epigenetic to the veins. Just think about those super high-grade quartz veins, 1, 2, 10, 20 kilos, which we were drilling across 4 or 5 kilometers, which go for 25, coming to surface and daylighting. And where they had great stock work at surface. That's the open pit we're going to talk about. I should tell you that we are permitted for the underground already, and I'll talk about the permit for the open pit at the end. We're very confident we're going to get that very soon, and I'll tell you how we think we're going to do that. That's the open pit. That's mineralization number 2. We always have that in every mine. You need to drive the underground with that. So that's the first thing we have. Second thing, unlimited high-grade quartz veins like the old timers took. That's hard. That's hard mining. You need capital to develop that, and we'll tell you how we're going to do that. 2 surprises, and this is surprises to a team that have been there 25 years. We found about 2 years ago a shale horizon. When that vein basically was coming to surface and daylighting, I'm making this simple, you had blowouts of 20, 30 meters, 1, 2, 3 kilos. What a beautiful thing after you transition from the pit to hard underground mining to have that bulk tonnage. We've drilled that for 5 or 6 kilometers across the project. Didn't get a lot of it in that 176 million silver equivalent ounces. We will. That just needs to be drilled. The next thing I wanted to see, look, a year ago, we put the first real deep holes, 450 meters from surface, underneath this thing. The first hole was 50 meters of a kilo. We had no idea what it was. We've now figured it out. It's a massive sulfide. It's already 750 long by 350 high by 200 meters wide. We got some of that in the MRE. That's a big underground exploration target. We'll talk about how we're going to get at that. I should mention right now, the old timers left us a very accessible mine. All of our exploration underground is now transitioning to underground drilling. We've had Cominvi in there. Cominvi do all the work underground for Agnico, for Silvercrest, our friends just to the south. We drove about a 0.5 kilometer in, so we'd be standing right over those 2 new discoveries. That's where we'll start drilling them. The old timers left us, this is very interesting, I think I'll show you this. They left us unlimited amounts of that in the old mine. We can't get, at some point we'll haul the ore the same haulage way, but we want to get in there exploring. So we basically said 2.5 by 2.5. Just wasn't quite enough. So we've blasted 4.5 by 5, and they've just beautiful underground development. Leave that alone for now. Let's talk about what we're really here to talk about today, which is the economics that we released, and first of all, the MRE. The MRE, we're going to talk about having about, quickly, let's make it simple, 80
80 million ounces in the pit, 90 million ounces in the underground, 53 million tons of ore in the open pit, 11 million in the underground. We also got in the MRE, which I filed Monday. People should have been paying attention. Pioneer Independence, 75 million exploration target, right there for the drilling, underground, all around where we've drilled. I'm not talking on the ends. I'm talking right in the guts. We just got to put some more holes in it. So let's talk about the pit. This is a very, very, very special development for the company. There's your pit we're talking about. We delivered the MRE last week. And then I'll tell you who worked on that and provided it. I'm sorry, the PEA last week. The numbers are extraordinary. The NAV was 287 USD. CapEx 59 million with a 7 million contingency. Those are real numbers. They'll actually be lower, but that's the CapEx for this pit. The IRR is 58%. It makes $455 million USD after tax flow in the 12-year mine life. It says 13, but that's just a couple of months that got carried over. The all-in sustaining costs are 11. The operating costs are 10. I'm using silver equivalent. Mainly this is gold, though, because the gold disseminated much more outside of the veins than that. Payback's 1.7 years. We should talk about how we're going to get at this and do it. Pit is incredible. And don't take my word for the pit being incredible. Let's talk about this guy here, Francisco Albalez. Francisco joined our team in February, March. For the last, we've been after him for a long time. We've been there 25 years. You've heard of Argonaut. He was the driving force in Mexico behind Argonaut for the last 12 years. He built, permitted, and ran San Agustin. He built, permitted, and ran El Castillo. These are some of the biggest open pit operations in Mexico. He joined us, and his words were, "This is the best pit he's ever seen. We need to proceed on it." So when I tell you what I think of this pit, I'm reiterating what he told me, and pretty incredible asset, actually, when we look at it. Let's go look here at and I can put the PEA highlights up as we talk about the pit. Pit's 2 kilometers long by 250 deep by, call it, I'm going to say 200 wide, 2-to-1 strip, 53 million tons. Recoveries, metallurgy, 78.1% recovery. A lot of gold in it. That's why we get those recoveries. 24 days, most of the gold's out on the tail. Just incredible. What we really liked about it was that, the grade, 0.61. We don't say high grade in pits, but that's high grade in Mexico for a pit. Those 2 pits that I talked about, Francisco built, the big ones, 0.25, 0.35. 2-to-1 strip overall, just an incredible asset. You saw the economics on it. It has to be built. Let's go look at what the pit looks like here. And I do want to talk about it. You can see it there. You can see how we're going to get at it. This is what it'll really look like in years 10 to 11. But I want to talk a little bit about what was really most special about it. You got to mine this. You got to get mining it fast. And we had the beautiful, not only was this 2-kilometer pit, as you can see here, all those beautiful economics I talked about, but we just got so fortunate that, the first 5 to 6 million tons of that, 53, or what we call the starter pit. It's just where those 3 veins I talked about came together, what really created this very, very, very high-grade underground mine. The blowout inside of that starter pit was incredible as far as the mineralization. It's 0.95. It's 0 strip. I talked about the recoveries. That's what allows us to have that less than a 1.7-year payback on this thing. And we're doing a lot of work on that right now. You can see what we have. Remember, this is just to provide the cash flow to get at the underground. This is the first inning is the open pit. The other 8 innings will be underground. That's what this will be all about. We've got a world-class small open pit. To make this a world-class silver deposit, which it is, and it will be, and to develop the underground, this is what you need to get at first. So, what are we doing? 21 million in the bank. We're going to talk about the underground. We're going to finish the pit first. I'm going to spend 6 between now and May. We've been 3 or 4 months into the program to move this to pre-feasibility. We'll build on the pre-feas. 4 drill rigs are turning on the mountain right now. You'll see a lot of drill results from these wide benches, 100 meters, 150, up to a gram. But really the work that needs to be done is we need to do the metallurgical holes. 8 of them have been done, they're finished, they're in the columns. That's the long lead on this. Secondly, we have, Golder was there 3 weeks ago. Golder are going to do the pit design, and they're going to do the pad design. They've laid out their 13 geotechnical holes, they're half done. The 4 drill rigs will then move, because I've got to finance this. This will be debt financing, maybe some equity, we'll see when I get ready to build it. We're going to, I'm not losing that indicated. I'm not losing the inferred. Of the 53 million tons, 11 million is inferred. I just need to drill, and really all that infers on the north and south end, just where we stop drilling. I'll bring that up in this drill program to indicate it. We think we're going to add 15 to 20% more bulk tons to this. Why we think that is that it's much deeper than we've drilled. It goes to 250. Most of our drilling's to 175. And we've really done no drilling on the north and south end. It's still open. So expect to see more tons in the pre-feasibility study from the PEA. That usually doesn't happen, but we're going to make that happen. The most important thing that we're doing right now, though, is that starter pit I talked about. That's what's going to provide bankability here. So we're moving all of that first 5 million to 6 million tons the first 2 years. That beautiful no strip, 0.95 material with 80% recovery to measured and indicated. So that'll all be done here by February, March with those 4 drill rigs turning, and you're going to see a beautiful document. There's really nothing. There'll be no surprises in it, and that's what we'll bank this on, and that's what we'll build it on. So that's the next little while, but don't lose sight of what the real prize here is. I've got a couple of minutes, and got to get back to it. This is step one. If this is all a company had, it would be a home run. There are a handful of profitable silver mines. This would be a beautiful, small open pit that generates $500 million in the next 12 years. Great. But that is only to develop the underground. And why? Because the potential in the underground, and I'm going to show you this slide. Nope, not that slide. This one. This is the 5 kilometers of the 35 we've explored. 90% of it's right here around the old Tiger Mine. You can see where the old timers went down to get that ore, and we've drilled under and around it, north and south, and yeah, it's gone real well. You can see here very clearly the pit. You see the numbers right there. That'll get better, and we'll build that. The shale zone, we only get a little of that in the MRE. We've drilled that for 5-6 kilometers. More drilling required. But this is the prize right here. We got to get at that, and as I showed you, we're underground. We're going to drill that east to west from the underground. This is only a year old, and this is the big prize. The veins, the shale zone, and this, which we've never really seen anything like this in Mexico. We've only been on that a year. Got a lot of holes in this end of it, as you can see. I mean, we're talking up to 50 meters of a kilo. It's already 750 meters long, 350 high, and 40 meters wide. That's the big prize with the unlimited veins and the shale. So somebody said in New Orleans when I was there, it was a Texas guy. He said, I get this. The open pit's the ATM to get underground. Yeah, it's a way to say it, and I kind of smiled when he did, but that's what that is. We don't have much time. I'm not going to get you all the information. I probably won't be back here again, but it was just a pleasure to come back after 3 or 4 years. And good for Red Cloud and Mark. They support a lot of young companies, and it's hard to do this. And when you have some success, you should come back and share, because it's good for everybody. Because everyone out there is trying to get to that same place. Let's get ounces. Let's get economics. Let's get the money, and let's build a mine. Because the rest of it is just. It's all a waste of time. You got to build a mine. It's the only way to win. So last thing I'll leave you with is we're covered by all of these folks. Just come back from a site visit 2 weeks ago. Everything's a blur lately. BMO were with us. They sent their analyst. They led our last bought deal financing we did in February. I like big syndicates, so you can see all these banks are always part of it. PI were also on that site visit. Both of them I expect to launch coverage. But the point is that, they're very good independent analysts, all of them, and everything we do, they do a detailed deep dive. So when the MRE came out, you can go find this information, and it's broken down every which way to Sunday. The site visit, they all went on it, they broke it down. But really now that we have economics on this with the PEA, they're all doing their own models. And you could have
a look at what they think, and we're basically pretty excited to take this to the next level. So easy, what we're going to do now, focus on the getting that pre-fees done. That's already underway. Keep working on the underground. That will slow a little bit with the 4 drill rigs finishing off this open pit, getting it to pre-feasibility. But we're underground, and we'll still get at that shale zone. That's going to be very exciting. That's the future. That's the world-class deposit that this beautiful open pit allows us to do. Permitted for an 800 ton per day underground operation. I own the mill. That's all engineered. PEA is on the underground. Look, it's got 11 million tons in the underground. Basically, 800 tons per day, 800 ton per day mill, 11 million tons already in that 90 million, 31-year mine life. That doesn't make a lot of sense right now. So, we're working, doing more work on the underground. I have the PEA being worked on now for the underground. I want to really make a splash with the first 3 or 4 million ounces of that, which will be really sulfide zone vein and that shale. I don't think, from what I see, that I will release that PEA until later in 2024. But, that's the next big for the company. And hopefully by then I'll be pretty close to being in production. Permits, Mexico. Boy, oh boy, there's a lot of bad information out there. Mexico's a great place to do business. We've got every permit we've ever went for in 25 years, and we will get our permits now. The new mining law people talked about doesn't affect us at all. It's fine. It affects companies that come to Mexico and basically set up tent for a year or two and then leave, or maintain concessions and not pay for them. So the mining law did not affect us at all. The regulations for the mining law are still not in place. They'll be in place 2 weeks from now. There could be some exciting things happen after that. We'll see. We're expecting some. Francisco came in, and when he looked at this, he goes, "We need to charge on the pit." That was his advice to me. And I know I'm over time. If you have some questions, we'll have 5 minutes at the end. And what he said to me, is, "I know how we can get this permitted because we have a permit." So in July, we filed the amendment to our permit application we currently have. The most important thing in a permit that's approved, and we are approved in Sonora for, as of right, 800 ton per day operation underground, is the cyanide and the Merrill-Crowe. So our amendment to our permit it will rely heavily on what's already been approved. I hope, and I don't say that hope is not the right word, I expect that by the time in May or June that I'm ready to make a build decision, I'll have the money lined up. It'll be easy to finance this pit on these economics, that I'll be in a position to be able to go forward with that. That will be the first phase of this, always never forgetting that underground will be what makes it a world-class asset. So that's where we are. Very, very fortunate that, I was talking to one of my partners the other day, and I said, we needed 91. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, it's real hard out there. You guys know how hard it is right now. It's not going to get better either, in my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. And I said, if we'd raised 50, if we'd raised 40, if we'd raised not 91 to get to where we are now with that MRE and this PEA to fund this going forward, then I'd be parked. So I've got 91, let me keep 21, which means I can finish the job and be ready June to make a build decision on what will be the next very profitable first stage of an underground, what will be a big underground silver mine, and you can count, as I said, on a hand how many there are. So we're very pleased to come back. It's been a lot of hard work. We've had a lot of really amazing support. I see Maria Smirnova. I always give her kudos because she was one of the ones who probably early days believed in us and is one of our largest shareholders. And along with some other fairly smart people in the world. That 75, the vast majority was Franklin, Steve Land, Maria with Sprott, Peter Melius at Merck, Joe Foster at Van Eck, Mackenzie came in on the last BMO bought deal. That were all straight up equity, higher values than we are right now. they're going to be fine. We're going to blow right through that here when we get this thing built. So it's been a good journey. We've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of hard work. My team has done amazing work. Having Francisco now as the CEO with the keys to build this, I sleep very, very, very peacefully at night. So we just need to execute. We've done that many times, and we're going to get it done. So any questions?